We've all been there, chasing that elusive closure after a difficult ending. We replay conversations, hoping for an explanation, a final word that will somehow make everything click into place. But what if closure isn't found in another person's words, or in a perfect explanation? What if it's not a conversation to be had, but a decision to be made? A conscious choice to release the need for external validation and find peace within ourselves. Let's explore why true closure begins and ends with you. Today we will talk about closure isn't a conversation, it's a decision. So before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. 1. The myth of the perfect conversation. The human psyche, in its quest for order and understanding, often craves definitive explanations for emotional turmoil. When a relationship ends, a betrayal occurs, a loved one is lost, or a significant life event shifts our paradigm, there's an inherent yearning for a why. We envision a perfectly orchestrated conversation where all questions are answered, all grievances aired, and a mutual understanding is reached, leading to a serene sense of finality. This narrative is heavily propagated by media, literature, and even well-meaning advice, suggesting that true closure can only be achieved through a final, cathartic dialogue. However, this expectation often sets individuals up for disappointment, frustration, and prolonged emotional agony. The perfect conversation is more often than not an elusive fantasy. The other person may be unwilling to engage, incapable of providing the desired answers, or simply possess a different perspective that doesn't align with our need for a clear-cut explanation. 2. Reclaiming your agency, the internal shift. Recognizing that closure is not an external transaction, but an internal transformation, is the first crucial step towards reclaiming personal agency. It's about shifting the locus of control from the other person or the external circumstances to your own inner landscape. This profound realization empowers you to understand that your emotional well-being is not contingent upon someone else's actions, words, or apologies. The decision to seek closure, therefore, becomes an act of self-love and self-preservation. It's a conscious choice to disengage from the pursuit of external validation or explanation, and instead to focus on your own healing journey. This internal shift involves a deliberate process of acknowledging your feelings, the pain, anger, sadness, confusion, without judgment, and then intentionally working through them. 3. The power of acceptance and letting go. At the heart of closure as a decision lies the profound power of acceptance and the liberating act of letting go. Acceptance does not mean condoning or approving of what happened. Rather, it means acknowledging the reality of the situation, however painful or unjust it may seem. It's about ceasing the struggle against what is, and instead embracing the truth of your present circumstances. This acceptance often involves a grieving process, grieving what was, what could have been, or what was lost. This grief is a natural and necessary part of healing. Simultaneously, letting go is not an act of surrender in defeat, but an active release of the emotional ties that bind you to the past or to the hope of a different outcome. It involves releasing the need for an apology that may never come, for an explanation that may never satisfy, or for a resolution that may never materialize externally. 4. Setting boundaries, protecting your peace. Crucially, the decision for closure often necessitates the establishment and enforcement of clear boundaries. If the pursuit of a closure conversation has become a source of continued pain or re-traumatization, then deciding to cut off communication, limit contact, or simply disengage from the narrative of the other person becomes a vital act of self-protection. Boundaries are not about punishing the other person. They are about safeguarding your own emotional and mental well-being. They define what you will and will not tolerate, what access others have to your emotional space, and how you will choose to interact, or not interact, with situations that have caused you distress. This might mean blocking phone numbers, unfollowing on social media, or politely declining invitations that involve the person or situation in question. It could also involve setting internal boundaries, such as refusing to engage in self-blame, rumination, or revisiting scenarios in your mind. 5. The journey of self-reflection and growth. True closure, as an internal decision, inherently involves a profound journey of self-reflection and personal growth. Once you release the expectation of an external solution, you are free to turn inward and examine your own role, your own needs, and your own patterns. This introspective process is not about assigning blame, but about gaining deeper self-awareness. It involves asking difficult questions. What did I learn from this experience? How have I grown? What are my vulnerabilities? What are my strengths? What patterns do I want to break? This self-inquiry can be challenging, but it is incredibly fertile ground for personal evolution. It allows you to identify unhelpful coping mechanisms, to understand your emotional triggers, and to develop healthier ways of relating to yourself and others. 6. Finding meaning and forging a new narrative. A significant component of the decision for closure is the active creation of a new personal narrative, one that acknowledges the past but does not allow it to define the future. This involves finding meaning in the experience, not necessarily in the initial event itself, but in the lessons learned, the strength discovered, or the wisdom gained through navigating the pain. It's about reframing the experience from one of victimization to one of resilience and growth. This doesn't mean fabricating a positive spin. It means integrating the experience into your life story in a way that empowers you rather than diminishes you. For some, this might involve channeling their pain into creative expression, advocating for others, or simply dedicating themselves to personal betterment. 7. The ongoing nature of healing. It is crucial to understand that closure, while a definitive decision, is often part of an ongoing process of healing, not a single, finite event. The decision marks a pivotal turning point, a commitment to move forward. But the journey of processing emotions, integrating lessons, and truly letting go can unfold over time. There may be days when old feelings resurface, when triggers remind you of the past, or when the lingering questions momentarily resurface. This is normal and does not mean you have failed to achieve closure. Instead, it signifies that healing is dynamic. Each time you consciously choose to reaffirm your decision for closure, to apply the lessons learned, and to reestablish your boundaries, you deepen your healing and strengthen your resolve. It's akin to tending to a garden. While you may have decided to remove a thorny bush, you still need to nurture the soil and plant new seeds for growth. 8. Embracing self-sufficiency in your peace. Ultimately, the most profound realization stemming from the understanding that closure isn't a conversation, it's a decision, is the embrace of self-sufficiency in your own peace. It liberates you from the precarious position of relying on external factors for your emotional well-being. It affirms that you possess the inherent capacity to heal, to find peace, and to move forward, regardless of whether others participate in your journey or offer the explanations you once craved. This is not about isolating yourself or denying the importance of healthy communication in other contexts. Instead, it is about recognizing that when it comes to the deep emotional work of truly moving on from difficult experiences, the ultimate power lies within you. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment and click the button to subscribe.